Previously on the last Pokémon Crystal challenge run. Look at it! It is terrible! And coming up, and even greater apologies for beating up your fish. Welcome along to 4 Moves. This is the series where we grab a Pokemon, we give it 4 moves, we put it against the clock, and we see just how long it takes us to defeat Red. Sometimes we have a very smooth challenge and we get through quickly, and other times it can be a little bit of a slog. Today we are going to be running HERACROSS. HERACROSS is a very powerful Generation 2 Pokemon. When we originally ran it around about 3 years ago on the channel, I do believe it ended up in the top 10 of the leaderboard. So HERACROSS has a lot of reputation to be holding up in this particular challenge. And now, as quite often is the case at the moment, when we come to pick our moves, we don't actually have that much diversity to go along with. So I have spent a little bit of time thinking on the learn set for HERACROSS, and I have made my decision. The first move we are going to be learning is Mega Horn. Mega Horn is a very, very powerful bug move. It isn't exactly 100% accurate, but I think we'll need that to get through Red's Espeon. We are going to be taking Return in this challenge. Return and Hidden Power are allowed. We aren't, however, going to be taking Hidden Power in this one. Normally, if you run a HERACROSS through a regular challenge run, you would give it Hidden Power Ground to give you something to get through the 4th gym, but we are in a position where we don't need that. So we're going to go for Headbutt in slot number 1, and then in our 4th slot, we are going to go for Earthquake. So the moves I have chosen are Headbutt, Earthquake, Mega Horn, and Return. The logic for that is Headbutt is going to be a very strong early game move. We have 85 speed, so we should be able to outspeed a lot of opponents. We've got the quad weakness to Falkner. I'm hoping if we don't one-shot with our 125 attack, we have a 30% chance of flinching his Pidgeotto. Return will come in handy a lot later on. We've got Earthquake for the Steel and the Ghost types, and then Mega Horn will be our answer to the Psychic type. That is the logic. I'm hoping that is sound logic. I'm a little bit nervous for this one because I know a lot of people love HERACROSS, and I want to do my absolute best on this challenge. I am going to be trying my hardest to get a time that we can all be proud of for HERACROSS. So before we get on with the run, should we have a look at our stats? We are level 5, this time with 24 HP, holding the berry with Headbutt, Earthquake, Mega Horn, and Return. We have 19 in attack, 14 in defense, 10 in special attack, 16 in special defense, and 15 in speed. This is the HERACROSS we are running with. Let's now see how we get on. And with that, the challenge has begun. The timer has started, and it will not officially stop now until we have defeated Red. Now, if you aren't familiar with 4 Moves, it is one of our 3 Crystal series we run together here on the channel. It's kind of the in-between between our classic timed runs and our Supermon challenges. The whole idea of this challenge is that you pick your 4 moves at the start of the challenge, and those 4 moves have to take you right through until the end. So we will not be able to learn any other moves. The learn set you see now will be the exact same learn set we have to try and defeat Red. Sometimes the learn set is great, other times we do suffer from a little bit of 4 move syndrome, and I think we're somewhere in the middle with HERACROSS. It's neither a fantastic nor a terrible learn set. If we didn't have Earthquake, I would be feeling a lot less positive about this challenge, but Earthquake will be carrying us. I do think there are going to be some tricky points of this challenge. Jasmine could prove to be fairly difficult actually in this one, and I do also think we need to keep an eye out for any Psychic type trainers as well. Fortunately for us though, most of the Psychic types we come up against are fairly weak in the physical defense department, and with 125 I do believe in our physical attack stat, we shouldn't be in for too much difficulty. Now, thinking of the other series that I mentioned, we've got our classic time challenges. We saw our return to that with the last challenge with Lickitung, and we also have Supermon. Supermon is hopefully going to be back towards the tail end of this month. It all depends on family circumstances, but it has not gone anywhere permanently. It's just on the briefest of temporary hiatuses. Now, if you do want to keep informed of any of the challenges we do together here on the channel, the best way to do that is, of course, to subscribe to the channel, press that little notification bell, and I will be eternally grateful. And you'll also be pinged, hopefully if YouTube works, about any future content. And so now we can start making our way towards Violet City. Our first gym is actually going to be one of the toughest gyms we come up against. We have a quad weakness to the flying type, and at the moment it doesn't seem like Headbutt is doing quite as much damage as I would have liked. Now, HERACROSS, I do believe, is in the slow experience group, or at least it's feeling that way. So it is going to be a little bit of a slog for levels. I'm actively considering doing a run up Sprout Tower where we shouldn't be hit by anything too hard, just so that we've got that extra bit of insurance for the Falconer battle. Before we even get to Falconer, we do have Birdkeeper Abe, and his Spearow has the same attack stat as Falconer's Pidgeotto, with a little bit of speed to boot as well. So we could be walled even before we get a chance to see Falconer's face. I'm going to be taking on every single wild encounter that we get between here and Violet City, because experience is definitely at a premium in the early parts of this challenge. And now we have made it into Violet City, and yeah, I do think we're going to take a trip up the Sprout Tower straight away. Unfortunately, we don't get the escape rope in 4 moves because of the escape rope being moved, but I still think it's worth doing to try and get the extra early game experience. Being in the slow level up group does have major downsides, especially if you are weak to the flying type. So this just makes good sense to me. It won't be a big time loss in the end if you consider the fact that if we were to go against Falconer now, we'd probably be in a reset loop for a very long time. And now we have made it to the tippy top of the Sprout Tower. We've got just one more trainer to face, of course, that's being Elderly. Let's engage him in battle and we'll see how he goes. Leads with a Bellsprout. We can take advantage of Earthquake being neutral against a pair of Bellsprout and knock them out in one. Probably going to be a 2-shot on the Hoot Hoot. Damageless Sprout Tower though, and nearly up to level 12. We get the Lantern, that will save a little bit of time in Rock Tunnel as well as Silver Cave, because it means I don't have to do the movement in the dark. And now we can get the heck out of here. We're getting a high number of encounters here in the Sprout Tower. Quite often you can walk around here and be relatively encounterless, but it is all early game experience, and that's kind of what we need with our HERACROSS. We'll do a very quick PowerPoint heal now, and we'll go into our first gym. First gym trainer is Birdkeeper Abe. He has a Spearow, and I'm hoping we one-shot it just like that. Up second is going to be Birdkeeper Odd. He's got a pair of Pidgey, but neither of these Pidgey has a flying type move. So we are in the absolute clear, and that brings us on to Falconer, our first gym leader of 16 for the challenge. Flying type specialist leads with Pidgey. We'll one-shot the Pidgey, we are onto the Pidgeotto, and we're hoping for a 2-shot. A lot of damage from a Gust there, but we did 2 shots, and we defeat Falconer to obtain the Zephyr badge in 7 minutes flat. Considering we have the quad weakness, that is not bad going at all. Now, if you are new to 4 moves, we run with HM items as opposed to HM friends, and instead of getting the egg, we do get the escape rope there. It's a key item like in Generation 8, so we can use that infinitely in place of Dig. For the next part of the challenge, I'm going to be focusing on getting some early game levels from trainers who I think will give us good experience points. Birdkeeper Peter here is a good example. He's got relatively good attacking stat experience with his Spearow, and the Pidgey gives us some good all-around experience as well. I did take on the Fisher with a Poliwag. He's very good for boosting your early game speed experience, and we're going to take on the Onyx trainer here. We should be able to one-shot with Earthquake, and that's going to give us a huge boost to our defensive stat experience. So we really are picking and choosing the best trainers to gather our experience points from as we make our way towards the second gym. We are still in slow. We're going to be in slow, of course, for the entire challenge here. And it does make it a little bit of a slog from time to time. I'm curious, actually, as to how much we can do against this Slowpoke without having to resort to Mega Horn. We can one-shot with Earthquake. Absolutely brilliant. And I do like taking on the Vulpix trainer as well. So we're doing a few trainers here in the Union Cave, but they will all count towards getting our levels ready for gym number 2. Got a little bit of storyline to do though before we get into the second gym. And that storyline is here in the Slowpoke Well. We've got 3 rocket sections we need to get through throughout the course of this challenge. Each of them getting progressively longer than the previous. This one is only a teeny tiny gauntlet, but by the end of the challenge we'll be absolutely sick to the back teeth of Team Rocket. And now I do think we're going to have a fairly easy ride against all of the rockets in this particular one. Maybe the Houndoom at the very end, if we don't one-shot it, could prove to be a little bit problematic. But other than that, we'll be absolutely fine. We are able to one-shot these Zubat at the moment, and by the next time we see them Team Rocket, I'm fairly certain that strength will be, not strength, but return rather, will be at a good enough strength to easily see them off. One shot on the coughing there to get through Team Rocket. Kurt has been on the old secret potion for his back, and we'll move in to gym number 2. This is Bugsy's Bug-type gym, and a lot of people are disappointed that Bugsy didn't have a Heracross. I wonder if they did that for balancing purposes. If Bugsy had both a Heracross and a Scyther, I think it would be a little bit too overpowered. The counter there would be to put someone like Price, who's a bit laughable and a little bit of a joke, as the second gym leader, and then make Bugsy a fairly late game leader, because Bug in this generation isn't anywhere near as bad as people like to think. Bug is a fairly viable type in Generation 2 if you pick the correct Pokemon. Even a Pokemon like Fortress, which struggles in our traditional Generation 2 Classic Challenge Run setting, can still be a very good team member, as long as nothing flammable's about. Let's take on Bugsy. Second leader starts with a Metapod. We'll use Mega Horn on the Metapod as we grow up to 18. We'll swap to Earthquake for the Kakuna, and then we have Scyther left to go. We outspeed the Scyther, and we are going to 3-shot it in the end. Very easy Bugsy battle there. Time of 12 minutes and 12 seconds for the Hive badge. Now let us very quickly use a berry here to get ourselves back up to maximum health. And we'll go straight in to rival number 2. We are at a bit of an advantage here at the rival battle because we do have Earthquake. But the rules of the challenge state we must always take the Pokemon whose type is super effective against us. So we don't need to worry at all about the rival here. 3 one-shots gets us through, and we can get on with our day. I always love it when the rival is completely meaningless. It is one load off my mind, and that means we can now start traversing our way through the Ilex Forest. I do like the Ilex Forest. I wish they'd have done more of these. Oh, bloody hell. Wrong direction, Squidge. There we go. I do wish they'd have done more of these far-fetched style puzzles. It really is quite a nice touch, and it's easy to do once you've learned the movement first time. I remember as a kid, somebody in the daycare I went to during school holidays, he ended up doing the far-fetched for me. I wasn't struggling or anything. He just took the Game Boy out of my hand and said, "Here, I'll do it for you." And I think that was the beginning of my arc of absolutely detesting backseat gaming, because I didn't get a chance to play that very small but very missable part of the game that, well, I hadn't paid for it, my grandparents had paid for it, and that is close enough to me paying for it for my liking, really. Let us now get through to Goldenrod City, and we'll think about how we want to take on this part of the challenge. I think now that we're in Goldenrod, we can focus on trying to speed through the next part of the challenge. I don't think we're in for a particularly tough time coming up here in Goldenrod, and the next couple of gyms are going to be fairly easy as well, so we can just focus on trying to go as quickly as we can We do, of course, have Jasmine looming in the very, very far distance, and she will prove to be problematic, I reckon, but until then, it should be a fairly smooth ride. In fact, we might end up doing Jasmine 7th as opposed to 6th in this particular challenge, just so that we've got a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to attacking her Steelix. If we can two-shot her Steelix with Earthquake, then we will absolutely be A-okay, but there's a very, very long way to go until we do defeat Jasmine. In the meantime, though, we're going to go into the game corner. We are going to get ourselves the Rental Abra, and it'll be time for our first sweep up north of Goldenrod. In Generation 2, you have to go up past Goldenrod twice, unfortunately. I wish there was a way to get Floria back in the flower shop a little bit earlier, but no, you have to go up to go back up again, which is why we get the Rental Abra before we do anything else, so that we can just skip all the way back to Goldenrod City. I'm going to take a risk here and take on a Psychic Mark. He is a very good stat experience, and we should be able to get through him. The Kadabra also gives us our next level up to level 22. And I am also going to risk Alan. This might not be a sensible idea. However, I want to see how much we can do against this Tangela with Megahorn, and we can one-shot it. Tangela's got remarkably high defenses for a grass type, so it's always a good Pokemon to go up against, just so that you can get some idea of just how strong, or in some cases weak, your physical attack may be. There are a few Pokemon throughout the course of the challenge where I will often take on an optional trainer just to try and get an idea of how well or badly things will go, because I don't do any pre-planning for these challenges. It is all done on the fly, and that means I have to gauge through playing in the game. Let's now take on Whitney. She is our third gym leader together today. A normal type specialist leads with Clefairy. We can one-shot Clefairy with Earthquake. Probably not going to be a one-shot with Megahorn on the Miltank. So instead we'll start with an Earthquake, we get a crit, and we can finish her off with a second Earthquake. Double critical hit there actually for us. Not too bad at all. I think we got 6 HP of damage from the Miltank in the end. Of course, the fighting type meant that Rollout was neutral against us, but even if we were quad weak, we would have had no issues at all in that particular battle. Now we are going to get the Squirt Bottle. That means we're going to go back to Goldenrod's Pokemon Center. We will do a very, very quick cursory heal here. And now it is time to make our long, long journey to Olivine City. Now, in case you aren't familiar with the routing, the reason that we go through Ecruteak so quickly is because we are trying to avoid Ecruteak's Pokemon Center at all costs. The cutscene in there wastes around about 10 seconds, and we can shift things about so that we can do Olivine City and the Lighthouse first, and that in the end will save a fair amount of time, because we can go up the Lighthouse, we can get some extra early game experience that way, and it does make the middle portion with the Kimono Girls Rival 3 and Morty slightly easier than it otherwise would have been. I do also like taking on a few of the extra trainers on this route as well, because they're all fairly good mid-game experience. I think Johto's strength is the fact that you have flexibility with this middle part of the game. However, that also becomes Johto's weakness, because they have leveled everything from here to the other side of Mahogany Town to be roughly all at the same level, the level you would expect after getting 3 gym badges. So the trainers around this side of Olivine City are going to be the same level as those all at the Lake of Rage, which does mean when you are past this part of the challenge, you generally have to try and fight those with fully evolved Pokemon when we get to that part of the challenge. So we'll be taking on trainers like Pokemaniac Miller with his Nidos in Mount Mortar. We do have another trainer who has a Slowbro. We've got another Nidoking trainer, and there are some others en route as well who will inevitably end up taking on. I do like taking on quite a few optionals actually in the challenge run. I am one of the safest, most conservative play styles when it comes to Generation 2 challenge running, because I don't do the pre-planning, because I don't do the pre-prep. because I don't do the pre-planning and I don't do the pre-prep, and I also don't have any kind of third-party software telling me exactly which trainers I should be facing in each challenge run. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I hasten to add. If that is how you get your enjoyment, then all power to you. It's just not my kind of thing. So I have to really try and be a little bit more careful than other people, and I really enjoy this way of playing, because I get to take in the sights and sounds, I get to really build a bond with the Pokemon, and there are some surprises and some not so pleasant surprises thrown in to the mix as well. I've started taking on the Kimono Girls, by the way, before Rival 3 recently. I've ended up factoring this into my regular routine because I do like getting the extra level or two out of these Kimono Girls Pokemon. It actually ends up quite often that getting the extra levels here means we have a much smoother Rival 3, and particularly Morty. Morty's Gengar has a lot more bulk than I always go in anticipating, so getting that extra little bit of experience does mean that we are then able to comfortably one-shot with a Pokemon like Heracross, and with other weaker Pokemon we can potentially get a comfortable two-shot instead and not have to worry about being sent to sleep, because we will also be holding the Mint Berry for that battle. I'm going to be saving the Mint Berry, I reckon, actually, for the Chuck battle in this one. I don't think we'll have any issues at all at Morty. To get to Morty, though, we need to get through Rival number 2. Rival number 3, rather. That's 2 videos in a row, I believe. I've got the wrong number there. But if you average them out, they're the right number, so it's absolutely fine. He's got Pokemon. None of them is particularly strong or a worry. We get through without taking any damage. He's meaningless. He's just there to fill time. We fall through the floor. We're ashamed to be even in his company. We release the beasts, and we will now get the heck out of here, completely blanking Usain. We are actually a very, very rude person to Usain. There he is, waiting to speak to us, and we just use a rope to get out of there. Goodness me. And now that we have successfully given Usain the cold shoulder for another challenge, it is time for our 4th gym. This is Morty's Ghost-type gym, and he's going to lead with Ghastly. We've got 6 Earthquakes with Morty's name on them. Hopefully we won't need to use all 6 as we grow up to level 30. We outspeed the Gengar, we of course one-shot it. Absolutely no doubt about that. We get through on our first try with the greatest of ease, a damageless Morty in a time of 25 minutes and 9 seconds. That does now mean we can start traversing our way over towards the Lake of Rage. And here at the lake, we are going to take on the Gyarados. We are going to be hitting it with just Headbutt and hoping for the best. A single flinch but a critical hit means we have consumed our initial berry, but we did not get knocked out. That means we can have a little chat with Lance. He is going to be saying something about Mahogany. I wasn't really paying attention. Let's hope that's not important later. And now there are a couple more bits and bobs to pick up here at the lake. We, of course, can't learn any TMs in this version. However, we are still going to pick them up because we can sell them for money on the black market to get some vitamins. Haven't quite found out where to buy Secret Potion myself, so we'll have to go with the above-board vitamins in this challenge. But you never know. At some point, maybe around April, we can think about doing something with the old Secret Potion to consume in battles. I've got ideas bubbling up for that. Whether they'll come to fruition or not is a different matter, but an idea is better than nothing. And with that, we will teleport all the way back to Olivine City, do our regular cursory heal here, and we can start crossing the open seas towards Cianwood City, where we are about to be facing, actually, another fighting type specialist, but I think we're the better fighting type specialist. Chuck should not... Oh dear. Accidentally kissed Swimmer Kaylee there. We'll take her on. Didn't mean to. Gotta look where I'm going. I was looking at the other screen, I've got to be honest. I was checking time for how long this video's running so far to see what I should and shouldn't be saying, and just didn't pay attention and had an accident at sea. Apologies about that, Kaylee, and even greater apologies for beating up your fish. Anyway, let's have a chat with the man in the dodgy shop, and then we'll go into our next gym. We are just about ready now to take on Chuck. He is our 5th gym leader together today. He is a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. Return is now slightly stronger than Headbutt, so we can consider using that. I think we're going to fish for the flinch. Hypnosis missed on turn 1, we get a flinch on turn 2, and we knock it out on turn 3. Another damageless gym leader there. Chuck's badge in 29 minutes and 40 seconds overall. That means we can get the air bloom from Chuck's wife. I've got a little bit of housekeeping to get on with now before we head over towards Mahogany, I reckon is where we're going next, because I don't think we can take on Jasmine. And now here in Mahogany we do have to get on with the Rockets hideouts here. I wish we didn't have to, but the game says otherwise. I was actually thinking during the part where I was picking up all of those items, I really like 4 moves because it forces you into having a good all-around learn set. Quite often in our traditional time challenges, we will have moves for 1 or 2 battles, really trying to laser focus in on one part of the challenge. Whereas with this, we are very much hoping that the Pokemon can be good all around. So it's a completely different mental attitude and style of play versus our regular challenge runs. And I think it adds some much needed life into some of the Pokemon who would otherwise struggle. Anyway, I'm not going to make you sit through any more of this horrible place. Let's skip to the end. There we go, 1 Mahogany Underground all cleared out. We get the Bath Plug and Whirlpool from Lance, and we can get ourselves out of here and into our next gym. I'm very glad that one's done. Really not a fan of the Mahogany Hideout section in the slightest. Now, we've got to get through Border Douglas before we get to Price. I reckon Price will be laughable and will at least be level 36 for the Jasmine battle there. So let's engage him in battle. We shall see how this goes. This is Price, Ice Type Specialist, leads with Seal. We'll use a headbutt on the Seal, we'll one-shot it, absolutely no doubt about that. I reckon a Mega Horn will one-shot the Dugong, and then as for this pile of swine, we'll use another Mega Horn. It goes down in 1. So another damageless gym battle. Goodness me, we're getting a lot of those. I don't think we're going to get one for our next one though, as we get the Glacier badge in 35 minutes and 50 seconds. Now we are going to hold on to the Kingiar, I think, for the next battle. It could be all the difference between winning and losing. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not putting in that protein, we are already maxed out on our protein, so there is absolutely no reason to stick another one in. I'm just holding on to it so I can sell it next time we are in Goldenrod City, which should hopefully be fairly soon after we have defeated Jasmine. This is going to be our most likely place to take our first reset or 2. Jasmine is not going to be easy, I don't think. I say that, we could end up with the easiest gym battle in the world. I genuinely have not got a clue, because Steelix has very strong defences, but we aren't doing so bad in the old attacking department. Let's take her on. She's going to lead with a Magnemite. We've got no worries at all with a Magnemite. We can one-shot it with an Earthquake. Here comes the Steelix. Is it going to be a 2-shot? It's looking like it is. Not bad. Grow up to level 37. We're getting first-time Jasmine. Not damageless Jasmine. If she had got a roll and a miss on her Earthquake, on her Iron Tail rather, we would have had damageless Jasmine, but I'm not going to complain either way. A first-time Jasmine in a time of 37:01 is nothing to complain about with our Heracross. That does mean we can now start making our way towards and in the Ice Path, where there are plenty of goodies for us. We're going to pick up the TMs, we're going to pick up all of the vitamins as well. And then once we're on the other side of the Ice Path, there are a few bits we want to pick up in and around Blackthorn. The first, of course, being our max repels. We're going to get 12. That will be all the repels we need now until the end of the challenge. We'll pick up this elixir. We may or may not need it. We are running fairly low PP moves, so we might end up needing more elixirs than normal. We'll grab this nugget, and I think we'll pick up this extra PP up. Don't think we need the Periscure Berry on this particular challenge, so it is now into Goldenrod, where we're going to go into the underground of the department store, where we have the 4th and penultimate rival battle. This time he is going to lead with Golbat. Will return one-shot the Golbat? The answer is yes. That's a very good start to this battle. We'll use return against Quilava. We don't need to use a super effective move this time. However, we do for the Haunter. We'll get rid of it in one hit. We'll continue Earthquaking against the Magnemite, and that brings us on to Sneasel. I reckon a return will make light work of the Sneasel as he hits us very, very quickly there. And that is the 4th rival battle all completed. Unfortunately, that does mean there are even more blooming rockets to get through. We are going to skip ahead right to the very end, though. And this battle brings us to the very end of another rocket section. We have just one more executive left to go. He led with a Houndour, that went down in 1. Coffin goes down as well, and we can one-shot the final Houndoom there. Very good stuff. That is Team Rocket defeated for yet another challenge. We get the clear bell, we'll ignore that, don't know what it does, don't care to find out what it does. We just want him to stop yapping. We will pick up the pink bow. That will be a fairly useful item, I reckon, for the next part of the challenge. And we mustn't forget the radio card as well. It is 1, 1, 2, 1 and 2 to get ourselves a radio card, and that means that we won't be being blocked by the Snorlax. And with that, it's time for a trip into Blackthorn once more, where we are going straight in to our final Jotonian gym. Now, I have swapped to the pink bow to see if we can get through the Dragonair in 1 hit. We can with our tester Dragonair here at Cool Trainer Mike. That is making me feel fairly good about the Claire battle, although I am actually a little bit worried about Lance in this particular challenge. He is going to be the more intimidating pseudo-dragon type trainer. We can't quite bring ourselves to call him a dragon type trainer, but he's almost there. Let's now take on Claire. She led with Dragonair that went down in 1. She's going to send out another, and it's going to go down in exactly the same way. Here comes her 3rd Dragonair. It goes away as well, and that brings us on to her Kingdra. I misclicked there. I was going for a Mega Horn, and we do one-shot the Kingdra. I love Mega Horn. It is brilliant when it does connect. Now that does mean we have to now leave the Dragon's Den. We'll stick on a repel, make sure we don't get pestered by any fish. And this battle will give me a great amount of pleasure. We get rid of Cool Trainer Darren and his bloody Dragonair. We mock him as we cycle past. And now we can go into the Dragon Shrine, where we have yet another little questionnaire to fill in. And you know what? I think the answers are going to be exactly the same. We'll do 1, 1, 2, 1 and 2. That seems to be correct. He seems to be happy with us. Claire enters into the Dragon's Den now, and she gives us her badge in a time of 49 minutes and 50 seconds. Sub our Claire. Not bad at all. Sub 50-minute Claire even better. With that, we can now start making our way towards Victory Road. I've taken on just a couple of optionals on route to the Heal House here. On the Victory Road analog, we're also going to take care of this Espeon. Will give us some fairly decent stat experience in the special department, and that is something that might come in fairly handy. Now, today we have been caught by Joyce. We've been doing very well at avoiding her, but sometimes she is just inevitable. Good news is we're able to one-shot her Blastoise. I'd be concerned if we didn't, but it's always nice to see that we are able to one-shot her Blastoise. I think I am going to take on a couple of more trainers. Couple more trainers around here before going into Victory Road, though. Mostly because I am very, very worried about the Lance battle. So getting that little bit of extra experience might end up helping us out. We can get rid of the Rapidash in 1 hit. We'll pick up this next Max Elixir, and we'll do the loop-de-loop into Victory Road. Here in Victory Road today, there's only one item we need to pick up. It is this HP up hiding in the corner by the ledge, and we can now go and engage the rival in 1 final battle. He is going to lead this time with Sneasel. We'll use Return against the Sneasel. We'll knock it out in 1. Up second is Golbat. The pink bow boosted return is more than enough to knock it out in 1 as well. And up third is Typhlosion. We've got a super effective Earthquake with Typhlosion's name on it. We'll Earthquake away the Haunter as well. And we will keep on Earthquaking for the rest of the battle because we've got a Kadabra and a Magneton. And just like that, we get through the final rival battle. Time of 53 minutes and 30 seconds. So we will now do a very quick heal. We will grab our 4 full restores, we'll either need them or we won't, and we'll park ourselves in front of the stairs and do some predictions, as well as taking a look at our stats. So we'll start off with the stats. We are level 48 with 163 HP, holding the pink bow, with Return, Earthquake, Megahorn and Headbutt. Don't forget those are the 4 moves we chose at the start of this challenge. 161 in attack, 113 in defense. Special attack's meaningless, but it is 77. 129 in special defense and 117 in speed. Do not forget those are the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle in just a moment when we face Will. Now, as for the League, I think Will could be potentially quite a tricky trainer if we're not able to one-shot. I think Koga is going to be fairly fine. Maybe if his fortress turns into a bomb, we'll have a problem. Bruno, can't see any problems there. Karen, I actually think we have the upper hand for once with our learn set. And as for Lance, a little bit worried, not going to lie. He's a flying type specialist and we've got a quad weakness to the flying type, so I think I'm right to be fairly nervous. Let me know though yourself, how well or badly do you think the League will go? And we're about to find out, because we're entering in. First League member is Will. He is a psychic type specialist who's going to lead with Xatu. We can one-shot the first Xatu, that is a very good start. Xatu number 2 comes out, and yet again it's a one-shot. That gives me great confidence now for the rest of the battle. We'll say goodbye to the Jinx. Megahorn is connecting against the Executor, and can we get the double? Yes we can. Slowbro goes down. One-shot City for Will. Time of 54:12. Let's move straight away on to Koga. Second League member, Poison type specialist, leads with Ariados. He's withdrawn his Ariados to get one-shot by our Heracross with his Venomoth. We will headbutt this Crobat and hope for a flinch. Didn't happen, but he is in healing range. We aren't able to one-shot, but he is just going for a double team. No, taking a reset, unfortunately. RNG was not in our favour there. Let's try that again. Doesn't go for the switch this time, so we get rid of the Ariados. Venomoth's next, and once again we knock it out in one. Crobat is third. We are going to go for a return, and we're just going to hope for the best this time. We are able to get through, so I think the rest of this battle should be fairly easy. We're probably going to need to use 3 Earthquakes against this fortress. It didn't explode, so now we definitely have this battle in the bag. We say goodbye to Muck, and we are through Koga on our second try in 55:15. Let us use a super potion there. Do we have a regular elixir? Yes, we do. And we will take on Bruno, third League member, fighting type specialist, leads with Hitmontop. Probably going to be a range on the Hitmontop with a return, but we do get the high roll and we knock it out in one. No guaranteed damage from the Hitmonchan at this time because he doesn't use a priority move. We can return away the Hitmonlee as well, and that brings us on to the Machamp. We're going to use a headbutt with critical hit. Cross chop does next to nothing. We don't need to be worried about the Machamp on this particular occasion. We'll finish it off with a further pair of returns, and then we should just be able to Earthquake the Onix away. That is Bruno defeated. Very, very good stuff. We do now need to do a quick heal in preparation for Karen. We are also going to use the HP up, and we will take her on. This is Karen, our final League member, a Dark type specialist who leads with Umbreon. We're going to use Megahorn against the Umbreon. It connects, and it one-shots. How about that? Up next is going to be Vileplume. We've been bloody paralysed. Going to take a reset. We need 2 Megahorns to hit in a row. That's all we need on this one. Shouldn't be too difficult. There's the first one. Knock it out. Grow to 51 again. And we do connect this time on the Vileplume. Perfect. I think we have the win secured now. I don't think any of the rest of her Pokemon is going to pose any of a threat whatsoever, because we can one-shot Murkrow, and then we should also be able to one-shot the Houndoom. Excellent stuff there. Second try Karen in 56:53. I don't mind taking resets actually when they are fairly quick and snappy like that. I'm taking no risks against Lance. I'm going to go all the way up to as maximum as we can. We'll use a full restore, and we're also going to hold on to the Prosecure Berry. Taking 0 risks, this could be a little bit of a scrappy battle. We'll see what happens. This is Lance the Liar with the Flyers. He leads with Gyarados. Double headbutt gets us started. On to the Aerodactyl. Flinch, please. No flinch. Wing attack does a lot of damage, but we should be able to finish it off with a Mega Horn. Here comes Zard. We need a flinch on the Zard to get through. We don't get a flinch, we take a quick reset. It's as simple as that. This is not a battle stacked in Heracross's favour, unfortunately. No two ways about it. Just going to have to keep on persevering and hoping for the best. Headbutt the Aerodactyl, we get the flinch. If Mega Horn connects, we can get the KO. Now, can we get the same luck against this Zard? The answer is no. How much does Wing Attack do? Not that much. We can two-shot it. We have Dragonite third. Headbutt into a return. Maybe we'll knock it out. Not quite, unfortunately. We're on 56 for the final two Dragonite. Please flinch. Please flinch. Please flinch. Perfect. As long as we don't get hit too hard, we will have the win on 5 HP. There we go. That is what we like to see. We have defeated Lance very, very quickly, actually, considering all the cards were stacked up against us there. Time of 58:30 through Lance. Let us now see where that puts us in the Hall of Fame. Clocking in at 58:46 for the midpoint of this challenge. Let's take a look at the leaderboards. And on our 4 moves leaderboard, we're in a very respectable 5th place, in between Stansler and Corsola. If we now take a look at the overall Crystal midpoint leaderboard though, you can see that we are in 57th place, few seconds behind the long-necked Raikou looking thing that I've forgotten the name of, and just ahead of Pidgeot. Pidgeot there being one of our former champions of the leaderboard. So getting ahead of that at the midpoint, no shame in that whatsoever. Now, this is only half of the story. Don't forget, this is just the midpoint. We still have another 8 gym badges, plus the red fight left to come. So I tell you what, don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we'll do in Kanto is get another rare candy, this time to the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag, we don't need to worry about getting sub-hour badges, so we can not put quite as much pressure on ourselves this time in the Kanto section. We will do our standard Kantonian routing. I don't think there's any reason to diverge from the norm here. We are a fairly strong Pokémon. The Pokémon we're coming up against are far, far weaker than anything we saw at Lance, so we should be in for a fairly smooth ride. Our first Kantonian gym leader is, of course, going to be Lieutenant Surge. He is an electric-type specialist led with Raichu that went down in one hit. Electabuzz went down the same way, as are the pair of Electrode. That will bring us on to the Magneton, and we will guarantee the one-shot with a quad super effective Earthquake. First Kantonian badge on the board in a time of 101:33. With that, we'll get out of here and we'll make our way in to Celadon City. And please do spare a little thought for Erica in this challenge. She's a grass-type specialist, which isn't exactly the best fates for anybody. And she's coming across one of the strongest bug types that Pokemon, I think, even to this day, has ever seen in terms of physical attack. So Erica really will have her work cut out for her. Chances are, we won't even need to use Mega Horn in most of this battle. We'll probably be able to get away with a return, maybe a Mega Horn on the Blossom, because Blossom is alarmingly bulky for such a small Pokemon. I'm always quite shocked at just how much bulk is in the Blossom. We will use actually a Mega Horn as well on Tangela, another very bulky Pokemon by stealth. We'll one-shot the Victory Bell with a return. We'll do the same on the Jumpluff. And then let us see. We'll go for a Mega Horn on the Blossom. It connects, it knocks out, and we have defeated Erica in a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 6 seconds for the badge. That means we can get out of here, we'll get on the bike, and it's time for a trip down Cycling Road, where we are going to be facing probably the easiest of all of the gym leaders in this particular challenge, because it is going to be Erica's gym. Erica really does need to get her act together. She's got no excuse for being new now. We've been doing this for well over 3 and a bit years, so she should be a good leader by now, but I can't even get in her door, so maybe she's providing a little bit of distraction tactic. Janine. I've been slagging off Erica for no good reason. Janine is our next leader. Poison type specialist, Koga's daughter. Terrible at her job. It's going to be one-shots across the board in this particular challenge. I'm going to blame the misspeaking there on the fact that I'm on new medication, starting new medication at the start of the year. See if that makes any difference to the ongoing issues. Soul Badge has been acquired in 104.05, so we've still got a 59-second Janine split there. Definitely Janine, and absolutely not Erica. We'll use the rental Abra, get ourselves back to Saffron City, and now we are going to be doing Reverse Rock Tunnel. One rock tunnel successfully navigated. We mustn't forget to dip into that Pokemon Center there. That is pivotal for our Cantonian routing, and we'll get ourselves into the power plant. Now, do we think that this manager of the power plant is either A, an attention seeker, or B, completely incompetent? He's got to be one of the two, with the fact that he's able to lose a machine part while he's in his power plant with plenty of other staff. They are the two options. There's no other choice for him, and either way he should lose his job. Let's now take on Sabrina. She is our next gym leader, 4th in Kanto. Psychic type specialist, leads with Espeon, and she's probably quaking in her boots here. We're not going to be mean and use Mega Horn. We don't need to. We're just going to use 3 returns to eliminate her Pokemon. Almost at level 60, not quite though, and we do obtain the Marsh Badge in 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 1 second. And do you know what that means? It's time for Nugget Bridge! And I want to use this Nugget Bridge as a little bit of an update for how I'm feeling, how I'm getting on. I did just mention that I'm on new medication. I've got to be honest, there are parts of times of the day where I'm not even sure what planet I'm on these new meds, but I'm sure I will adjust fairly quickly. I'm feeling pretty positive mentally, considering everything else that's going on at the moment with the ill relative. She's doing as best she can as well. My other half is going down to visit her a little bit later on this month, which is why I'm not investing time in Supermon, because I'm not quite sure whether I am going with yet or whether I am holding the fort here looking after the cat, because of course we do have that little black cat who came into the window well over 3 years ago now and is still living. I'll tell you what, last night actually, it was very, very cold outside for the United Kingdom. Got down to about -8, and he desperately wanted to go out for some reason. So for around about 2.5 hours, we were doing the hokey cokey at the door. Progressively, I was getting colder and colder, had icicles off the end of my nose by the end of it, and he just would not make up his blummin' mind, but I still love him to absolute pieces. I have been so happy that the cat delivery system chose me and gave me the best cat I would ever want to have. And now we are at the end of the bridge. That means we will go back into Cerulean and we will take on Misty next. She is our 5th Cantonian gym leader. She is a water type specialist and she's going to lead with Golduck. It's going to be a one-shot on the Golduck to get us started. She'll send out Quagsire second, and we'll get another one-shot. Growing up to 61 there as the Lapras comes out. We'll risk a Mega Horn. We miss twice in a row. She's hitting us with Surf. 3 Mega Horns missed in a row. 4 Mega Horns missed in a row. We connect on our 5th. Bloody hell, Heracross. You'd better not do that same thing against the Espeon at red, otherwise I will have your guts for garters. Cascade Badge 108.29. Heracross, do we need to go to Specsavers before we go back to the power plant? It really does feel like the RNG comes in waves in this game, actually. Sometimes you'll have perfect RNG for a long period of time, and then before you know it, the RNG is really turning against you for extended periods of time as well. I must do some looking into that, actually, to see how the RNG works. I know Gen 2 RNG is particularly difficult to crack, though. Let us now wake up this pesky Snorlax that's been blocking the way. If we can get into the Pokeflute radio station, I stumbled in the bag then, and I'm stumbling over my words. Should we see how much Mega Horn does? We are able to connect, thank goodness for that. And we do one shot. We'll get ourselves up to Pewter. I think we'll do a heal in Pewter City's Pokemon Center. Wasn't planning on taking any damage there, but of course Heracross decided to try and attack Misty herself rather than her Pokemon. So the hits didn't quite count towards the HP bar. Instead, Misty is now currently on a stretcher on her way to the local A&E. We have Camper Jerry standing in for Camper Liam, and we will take on Brock. Brock is our next gym leader. He is a Rock-type specialist, leads with Graveler. Graveler goes down in 1. Up next is going to be Omastar. We'll keep on using Earthquake here. It's going to be super effective against all of these Rock types, so we should be in for a fairly easy battle. Should hopefully grow up to level 62, courtesy of this Rhydon as well. We do, in fact, grow up to level 62 courtesy of this Rhydon, and we obtain the Boulder Badge in a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 20 seconds overall. Let's try and evade 3 drill today. We are against the clock, so we don't want to have the time loss, and we can now start making our way towards our penultimate gym already. Goodness me. Hasn't time flown with Heracross, or is it just because I recorded Lickitung this morning that a 1:10 going into Pallet Town feels very, very quick? I am still riding the high of that Lickitung challenge. If you haven't seen it, I really would recommend going back and watching it. It was an awful lot of fun to play, even if there was a lot of complaining. I do appreciate it was a very, very long video in the end as well, running about half an hour over what I normally target for these challenge runs. This one should hopefully come in just on time. Blaine here is our penultimate gym leader. He leads with Magcargo, goes down in 1, and we'll just keep on earthquaking here. No sense in changing the habit of a lifetime. We'll do 3 earthquakes for 3 one-shots, and that will get us our penultimate badge, the Volcano Badge, in 1:11:24. Let us now use one of our elixirs here. Are we at full health? I'm going to assume so. We'll hold on to the leftovers, and we will make our way back to Viridian City, where we are going to be engaging Blue in battle. Now we must remember Blue leads with Pidgeot, so it could be tricky. But let's now engage Blue in battle. What's the worst that could happen? We could end up taking a few resets. He leads with Pidgeot. We're going to start with a headbutt and hope for a flinch. He goes for Mirror Move instead. I don't know why he's not trying to attack us properly, but we'll absolutely take that as a bit of a win. Up next is going to be Arcanine. We outspeed, and will we one-shot with Earthquake? Yes, we will. Alakazam's up third for no good reason. We'll just use the return and it'll disappear right in front of our very eyes. We've got Gyarados next. Headbutt into return, do we think? We get the flinch, and we should get the KO. Growing up to 63 now as the Executor comes out. It's quad weak to Bug. Mega Horn hits, thank goodness, this time. And we just have Rhydon left to go. Probably going to be a pair of Earthquakes to finish us off here. Sandstorm is just more annoying than anything else. We get through the Rhydon though, and we get the Earth Badge in a time of 1 hour, 12 minutes and 37 seconds. With that, we've got all of our badges for Heracross. That means we can go back to Pallet Town. We'll have a little chat with Professor Oak. We will show off this Heracross that we've caught. He seems decidedly unimpressed, which is a little bit weird if you consider the fact that Heracross is not native to the Kanto region. We will stick on a Repel, and then we will fly back to Viridian. We're not going to the game corner or anything else in this challenge because we can't learn moves, and even if we weren't doing the 4 moves challenge, Heracross cannot learn any move tutor moves. That means we're going straight in to Silver Cave, but only after we picked up the rare candy. We're not anywhere close to a level, so I think I'm just going to dump in all 5 rare candies on this occasion. So I'll get on with that and we'll meet up for red. The rare candies are in, the Repel is on as well, so we can now make our way into the very back of Silver Cave. By the way, if you're wondering, I always cut out the flashing there from the rare candies because I know it can be kind of harmful to a lot of you. Red does lead with Pikachu. We're only battling 5 Pokemon in this instance, and we will move on to the Venusaur. We're going to use a Mega Horn here. He takes in Sunlight and we can 2-shot the Venusaur. The one I'm worried about is this Charizard right here. I think we might need to play for the flinches. How much does Wing Attack do? Goodness me, that's an awful lot of damage. We have got the flinch though, so we can knock it out. Up next is going to be Pescion. Please connect Megahorn. Yes, that is good. We've knocked it out in one. And we are on to Snorlax. We've got to hope that Megahorn keeps on doing exactly as it is right now. We can keep regaining HP. We're going to be back in the green for the Blastoise. Start off with a headbutt. Rain Dance, meaningless. Flinch, please. No flinch. Surf hasn't crit. We're going to risk a Megahorn. We connect, and we knock it out. First try red in 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 48 seconds. Let's now take a look at the final leaderboard for this challenge, and it is a very valiant third place for our Heracross on the 4 moves leaderboard. We really had a good Kanto section there and raced ahead of the competition. Now, if we look at the overall leaderboard, that puts us in a very, very good 35th place. In between Rapidash and Poliwhirl there. There is absolutely no shame in that finish. I think we can be very, very proud of our Heracross challenge. Do keep an eye out, by the way, on the leaderboard for the other Heracross challenge that we did all the way back in April 2023. There we go, 116th place with a 135.15. So we've saved about 20 minutes doing the 4 moves challenge with Heracross. So even though we cannot compare them as like for like, I still think we did very, very well. But with that, we are done for this one. It's been an absolute pleasure throughout the course of this video. I've had a lot of fun playing Heracross, and all of you Heracross fans, I hope I have done you proud. If I have, make sure to leave a like on this video. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more challenges just like this. And until next time, when we're going to be doing another Pokemon challenge, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.